Hey guys, Brandon here from the Vancouver Pupps, and I want you to meet my friend Adam here. Adam is the 16th member of the Vancouver Pupps, and Adam is based on my friend Adam Kreutinger, who was an amazing puppeteer here on YouTube. He was an educator. He was a husband and a father of two young kids. And like I said, he was a puppeteer, someone who I really looked up to and admired. And unfortunately, on February 27th, of this year, Adam passed away from complications from brain cancer, which was very, very upsetting, and it's been really, really difficult thing for the puppet community to sort of deal with. And it's been really sad. And, it's a strange thing to say that somebody who I never actually met in person had such a huge impact on my life and literally changed my life, because everything that I learned about puppet making, almost everything that I learned, was from watching Adam's videos on YouTube. So I thought that I would do a little tribute to Adam, and this is the Vancouver Pupps version of Adam, who's inspired by Adam Kreutinger. Yeah, so all of the techniques used in order to make this puppet were all Adam's techniques, things that I've learned from watching his videos, and you can learn all those too as well from checking out all of his puppet construction videos on his YouTube channel, Puppetnerd. His likeness is modeled after him, and this is how he was made. All right, so we're ready for the first step, which is to basically create the shape of the head that we want to make. So normally you would do a sketch or something, but I just went on the internet and printed some pictures. So here you can see, this is Adam. This is what Adam looked like. See, he was a handsome guy. Yeah. So those are some pictures I just picked off of Google. Doing a little search. This is the one that they used at his celebration of life, which I think was a good choice. This is a nice picture. He looks great. He's looking up, optimistic, wearing a colorful outfit. That's the Adam that we all should remember. So you can see Adam had a very sort of more ovular kind of head. His face shape is sort of ovular, and he's got a bit of a chin that points a little bit. The chin gets a little narrower, but otherwise his head is, to me, looks quite ovular. So that's the shape we're gonna make. So this is something that I use a lot for actually standing my puppets. But this is, I think, actually meant for paper towel. This is a paper towel thing, but it's very sturdy. And I'm gonna use this to make our clay form. So I'm gonna put some plastic over this. And I got some fresh clay. Very fresh by the looks of things. Wow, it's wet. Wow, this is very fresh clay. Okay, and I'm gonna just put this on here. So this one bundle of clay should be enough, I think. Okay, so this is almost getting there. Still is a little narrow at the top. Here, I want it to be a little more clay up here. All right. It's a little long, but the thing is, we can do things a little exaggerated. Because that's the nice thing about puppetry. It's kind of like doing cartoons or caricatures. When you're especially doing it on someone, you can exaggerate certain features. So even if his head is a little more oblong than normal, that's fine. And I want his head to be very different from Oko's. Anyway, since this is a new friend of Oko's, I want to make sure that he looks a little different. And Oko's head is very round. So I think we'll go with that for now. So there we go. So that is going to be the shape of the head. Here. All right, so now what we want to do is I want to create a tentative center seam. So there's the front that I'm going to call. All right, so what we want to do is create a mouth. We want to do the mouth next, I think. So I'll use this blade. So let's see, we want to go, here's the halfway point. Right around there. And then the mouth should be around halfway down from that. So we'll say right around here. And then we'll go up. I probably should have used different equipment than this blade. I don't think this blade was a good idea to do this, but that's okay. This clay is actually extremely soft too. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add a whole bunch of tape. This tape is going to be done in a little bit. This is how Adam did it. I kind of do things a little differently. I like to wrap things in plastic wrap. I like to add things in plastic wrap, to be honest, and then tape. Okay, so now I'm just gonna redraw the the center back and center front seam. Something like that. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, and I'm also gonna put this line, and then I'm also going to draw the line for the hand. All right, I don't know if I got the best tape for this. Like I said, this is a technique that Adam does. We're doing this all the way Adam used to do, so we're gonna try and do this. Like I said, normally what I do is I cover it with a layer of plastic, like plastic wrap, and then I just put tape all over that plastic. That seems to work a little bit better for me, but let's just try it this way. So now what we have to do is add some dart lines. So I'm definitely going to want some darts here. And then I think I might do a big dart here, like this. A bigger one here, like this. Since that's sort of around the back, you won't see it. Yeah. And then up here we'll do... So I think that's all the darts we need. I think that's it. Just put a little one under the chin, and then this one at the back. So here I have some clear tape. I'm going to add just a little of this to stick. I'm worried about all of these masking tape pieces staying together. So I'm just going to kind of like go like this, just to help them hold their shape. All right, so after a little finesse, I had to add a little extra tape in order to make the pieces stick. I don't know, the masking tape thing doesn't work that well for me. I really do recommend when you're transferring the pattern pieces from the clay, I recommend using plastic wrap, and then using packaging tape works really, really well. And then just cover that, then use a marker to mark your lines, and then cut along those lines. But anyway, after working with the pattern a little bit, here's what I came up with. I think I'm going to cut a little extra off of the top head dart so that it makes the head a little more flatter, because I felt like it looked a little more cone shaped than I wanted. Adam didn't really have a cone pointy head, but the clay was sort of like, I think, pulling down on the pole, and that's why he was starting to get a little more of a cone head. So I'm just going to counteract that by shaving a little off of the top dart to make the head a little more rounded. And I think I might take this dart out as well at the chin. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep that or not. I might keep it. But anyway, overall, that's what I came up with. I did a little math. The clay head was about 6 inches tall, and I wanted the total head to be about 10 inches tall, which is just a little bit larger than Oko's head. And I took it to a photocopying machine at my local public library and blew it up. So there it is. So there's the piece. I'm going to cut this out now and probably transfer it to a card to make it a little more sturdy. And then I'm going to cut 2 of those out of the foam, which is going to be the 1/2-inch foam that I normally use. So that's the next step. So to do the math on it, like I said, the head, the clay head is about 6 inches tall at 100%, and I wanted it to be 10 inches tall. So to find out the percentage of that, I did the math. Basically, 10 times 100 makes 1,000, divided by 6 equals 166%. So that's what this is. And I can even mark that down on here too, that this is 166%. All right, so here's the 2 pattern pieces, and I've put the contact cement, I'm using this one, the LePage. I've put that on all of the darts. So let's see if we can start closing these now. Under the chin. See, this one's got the markings on the other side, but I'm curling it like this, so. All right, that's good. And then I also attached or put contact cement on the bottom chin part here. So we'll just do that. Attach it there. All right, now the only thing left to do is the front head part, the front head seam. So just attach glue around this outside part, and then the head will be done, and then we'll be ready to work on the mouth plate. So let's do that now. All right, so there we go. That's starting to look pretty good. So I'm gonna keep just pinching away at these seams to make sure that the contact cement is having a nice strong hold of the foam. And then we'll start to work on a pattern for the mouth plate, which can also help us shape the face a little bit. If I want a little more square, then we can just kind of like, yeah, make the arch of the mouth plate a little bit wider or lower. Yeah. But so far it looks pretty good. All right, so we got the head here, so I'm happy with how that looks. It looks a little smaller than I thought it would be, but it'll look bigger as well once we put the outer layer of fabric on it and the hair and add things like the ears and things like that. It'll look bigger. But that looks pretty good. I like the shape of that. I think that could very well be a puppet version of Adam's head. That looks good. All right, so now we want to do the mouth plate. That's on the top, the bottom and top mouth plate. So I got a piece of paper here. So what I'm going to do is, this is what I normally do, this is how I learned it from Adam, is I just take a piece of paper with a flat edge and I'm going to just trace it like this. Basically just hold it there. So this will be the bottom one. And I'm looking at the mouth here, and I think that the top and mouth plate, pardon me, I think the top and bottom plates, mouth plates, are going to be almost the same. And we might be able to use the same for this, because sometimes, like Oko, the bottom plate is shorter because he's got sort of an overbite. Oko's mouth goes a little more over. But the way I drafted this one and cut out the slice, it looks like they're going to be about the same. And that's fine. So what I'm going to just do is the bottom one here. And then we'll see how that looks for the top as well, because I think we might be able to get away with using the same. So I'm going to just trace this now as carefully as I can. Okay, now I'm going to be folding this in half to make it symmetrical, so I only need one side, but I'm just going to lightly draw in this other side. I can kind of feel the foam, yeah. All right, so see, that looks kind of wonky, but that's okay. Because what I'm going to do is Yeah, the corners of the mouth are good. I might even want them a little more wider. Yeah, and it does look comparable. See, now that I push it up, you can see that the top mouth plate, I don't know if that shows up very well, but the top plate is going to be pretty much the same. So this is going to be a nice, easy mouth plate to do. So what I'm going to do now is take this. I marked where the center is, the center front there. And what I'm going to do is kind of fold there. And this is a straight line, so I can kind of put these two parts together. And now I'm going to use this side, and I'm just going to like round this and make it look a little nicer. All right, kind of like that. And now I'm going to cut that out. With my paper scissors. All right, so now that's sort of uniform. All right, so let's see how that looks. So that looks pretty good. Okay, so this is fitting pretty well. We're still going to alter this pattern piece a little bit more still, so I think we're good. So that's fine. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take another piece of paper. I might even be able to use this. Let's just see. No, it's a little too small. So I'm going to get another piece of paper and make a circle pattern out of this so that I have the pattern piece for the mouth plate of the fabric, basically the outer fabric for the mouth part. Because this times 2 will be basically the mouth. But I want to get that piece now. So trace that. All right, so hopefully that shows up. I don't know, but basically here's just the mouth, and here, I'll write here also. So in the middle here, this is the fold line, and so there's the mouth, there's the top and the bottom mouth plate, and all I have to do is add the seam allowance around there. But basically that fold in half is the mouth for the inside mouth, but we'll just save that for later. Right now we're concentrating on the foam still, the inside part. But like I said, it's just good that I get this now, because what I need to do is now I'm going to take this piece, and I'm going to just take off like about 1/2 centimeter or like 1/4 inch off of this. I'm just going to cut this off. Yeah, I'm going to do 1/4 inch. So there it is. So there's the line that I'm cutting. Because this gives us a little more room to move around when we put them in. So now this should fit a little more easier in here. Yeah, it does. I believe, yeah. Yeah, looks great. Top and bottom, yeah, perfect. That looks great. So there we go. So now we are going to start making the mouth plates. Now that we have the pattern, I'm gonna write on here, Adam, mouth plate, top and bottom. I probably could just write Adam, but anyway, there we are. So there is our pattern piece we're going to use. So now for material, now Adam always used like Rubbermaid container lids and stuff, but I don't have a lot of those laying around, and I have tried that plastic, and it does work really, really well. He'll talk about that a lot. But one thing that I use a lot is these sort of corrugated plastic. I got in the habit of using these because I can always get these things at the dollar store. Again, we're back to the dollar store. It's a puppeteer's best friend, as far as I'm concerned, is the dollar store. After like your favorite fabric stores and possibly Michael's. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut 2 of these out of this. I really like this because it's plastic, so it won't like absorb moisture from your hand over time. And yeah, it's just nice and sturdy. And I make it even more sturdy by adding popsicle sticks. I probably glue 1 or 2 popsicle sticks to it to strengthen it up. Because if it's under a lot of pressure, it will bend a little bit. But yeah, I just really like these. So I'm going to, like I said, cut 2 of the pattern piece out of this material. And then I'm going to glue some popsicle sticks to it to strengthen it up and make it nice and strong. And then I'll show you the next step. What we're going to be doing is adding a little board to kind of grip onto. And then we're going to be adding the band that goes over the hand with elastic. I'm going to use a really wide elastic that I have here. And all right, so when we're at the step where we're ready to attach the elastic, I'll show you what we've done. All right, so I'm filming outside. I hope this looks okay because I don't normally do this, but we are doing stuff with contact cement, so I wanted to make sure I was in a properly ventilated area. So I worked on the mouth plate. So here's the top plate. I don't know if you can see this, but basically I used the corrugated plastic sign, the garage sale sign, and I contact cemented some pieces of popsicle stick to it to make it more sturdy. And then I cover it with a really wide elastic, and I like to just sew along the edge here. So that one's the top, but the top fingers fit in. And this is the bottom one for the thumb. There's the popsicle sticks. I put one down the center and then just lay this wide elastic down and zigzag it. And I make sure that this one is sort of looped, sort of like there's space here to accommodate the thumb. That's it. So those are the mouth plates we're going to use for this one. So now what we're going to do is add contact cement to the mouth of the foam, and then along this part, because that's the part that's going to go, it's going to get glued down. Yeah, the flat side will be up, will be facing outside of the puppet. But I'm also going to put glue along the edge of the mouth plates and just a little bit along here, and you'll see why we do that after I've actually done it. So first step, though, is going to be to add the glue. So I think I'll add the glue to the foam first. All right, that's probably long enough. So let's see here. Let's do the top. Should I do the top first? I don't know if there was really an order to this. Let's see. I'm going to do the top first. So Adam taught us to try and attach these so that there's a little bit of an overlap, like, so it's kind of like this, if that's possible. Yeah, get that a little bit like that so that there's a little bit of an overlap with the foam, and then lift and kind of curl it up and over is a good method. And that's why we wanted a little bit of glue here on the other side of the plate. All right, that looks pretty good, huh? There we go. So just keep pinching this as the glue is setting quite quickly in the sun here, which is kind of nice. It's making this easier, actually. Yeah, okay, that's good. Like I said, I'll just let the glue continue to dry fully, and I'll just keep curling this and pushing it and pinching it. But otherwise, that's pretty much it. That's basically, there we go. We pretty much got the mouth plate in. I think I'm gonna need to cut a little extra. I can tell right now that the mouth plate, because this is a smaller head, the mouth plate's coming out a little far. I might need to just cut a little bit of foam out of the back here to accommodate the puppeteer's hand, but that's fine. Yeah, so there we are. We'll just keep reinforcing this glue until it's fully set, and then we'll be ready to move on to the next step, which will be to draft the pattern for the skin on the outside skin. All right, so that's the next step. All right, so now we got to start working on this skin. So here's the fleece that we picked up. It's a nice sort of sunshine yellow, a nice vibrant yellow polyester fleece. So this is the selvage here. So there's two ways that the stretch goes. Along, yeah. So along the selvage, there's less stretch. We want to go against the selvage. It has way more stretch. So we're going to take the midpoint here. And now the foam has a seam down the middle, but when we do this pattern, we want to try and make as few seams as possible, at least facing outwards. So that's, I'm going to take this and lay this on here. And sort of lay this flat as much as we can and sort of stretch it around. And the nice thing about this fleece is it sort of clings to the foam, which is really nice. Okay, this looks like it was done almost perfect. Okay, good. So I'm going to just pin this a little here along the lip line here. Looks like I cut this piece just big enough. Now this is the fabric we're going to be using, but I'm going to be I cut an extra piece off to make the pattern. We're going to be like drawing on this, but but this isn't going to be the exact piece. Wow, we almost have like no seam at all here, but there's going to be a bit of a seam sort of on the sides. We want this to kind of like pinch up a little. I think I'm just going to have no seam in the front, if you can believe it. I'm just going to kind of go like this. Yeah, because, I mean, yeah. Anyway, I'm trying to make this as simple as we can because this is all going to be covered up anyway, eventually as well, with the hair. We're going to be making a hair piece because Adam had a beautiful head of white hair. We're going to have that on top. So any seams up here we can cover anyway, but that just keeps it nice and simple. There's a nice flat front. This is pinned to the back. I'm going to add a few more pins here. This is how Adam did it, and he even like trimmed the fabric too. I'll probably do that as well. Like this. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I got my Sharpie. We're going to, so this is pinned. This is pinned along the back now, and sort of got some little pins up here. We'll see. Not sure how we're going to do that, but let's see. So now what I'm going to do is I want to mark where the mouth is. And now I want to just mark where it meets the foam here. So I guess I can do some trimming here. Hold on. Let's trim a bit of this off here. Trim this. Alright, and I'm going to mark the lip line here on this side. Now the way Adam does it, yeah, like I would normally maybe just do one side and then mirror it, mirror the pattern, but I'm going to do the way Adam, and Adam did mention you can do it that way. But he also showed this method of sort of grading it between both sides. Or I'll show you how we do that once we get to that spot, that point. All right. So now I'm going to, here, maybe I can take this off. Let's just put push all this fleece inside here. Or I can just probably just trim it here. A lot of this is going to be trimmed. Come on. All right, I think that's about it. So I could have added a little dart down here, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just not going to worry about that. Yeah, because we're going to have a little neck pattern piece anyway as well. But basically what I'm going to do is take this off now and then lay this on pattern. All right, so there it is. That looks about right. That's what it should look like. I hope that's coming up. Anyway, like I said, I'm going to put this onto, I'm going to make this onto a pattern now. I'm going to make this onto a paper pattern, and I'll show you the sort of grading, the way we get in between. To make it symmetrical is what I'm trying to say. I'll show you how we can make this pattern completely symmetrical. All right, so now we've cut the pattern out and I've laid it down, and I've already traced once around the whole thing, so there it is. But what I've seen Adam do is he's going to take the pattern over and he's going to flip it. I'm going to mark up the center seam. All right. And now what I'm going to do is just retrace it. Well, first I'm going to pin it more down. I'm going to pin it down and then I'm going to retrace it. So we'll have two sets of lines. Okay, so what I need to do is, now I'll probably use a different color ink, but I need to basically true these and make them, basically draw a line between them. And then that'll be the master. Maybe I'll just use the felt tip marker for this. And what I'm going to also do though is, I wonder if I should just do it on one side and then cut it. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna like fold it. And then do one side here, so something like this. I'm just going to do this by hand. So I'm using the marker now. Go like this. Basically, I'm doing my best to just draw a line between the two. All right, that looks good. All right, so now I'm going to cut that out. All right, so there we are. So I'll make a few notes here. This is the CF, the center front. And then these are the CBs. CB back here, CB. And then here is also the center front. This is the part that's right under the chin. All right, now I'm going to be cutting this now out of the fabric. I'm going to get a good piece of the fleece, and we're going to be cutting that out. And I'm going to be hand sewing these darts first, and then the back. And we're going to leave about, let's see here, leave about 4 inches or so. So we're just going to sew from the top of the head down to about 4 inches, leaving it in the back. You'll see that. I'm also, when I cut this out, I'm going to be leaving 1/4 of an inch seam allowance around the mouth. So that when we cut out the pattern piece for the mouth, which is going to be, I think, in black, well, I can use the machine to sew that to make a nice strong stitch around the mouth, because I remember that Adam used to like to do that too, all right? But yeah, anyway, this is good. We're at a very important step. So yeah, like I say, I'm going to cut out a good piece of the fleece now with this and start hand sewing it. I'm going to do all this by hand. I'm going to hand sew the darts closed stitch by stitch so it's nice and smooth. And then the back seam along to about 4 inches, and then the chin seam. And then that'll give us the head. And then we'll see how that looks. And then machine stitch the mouthpiece. And we already got the mouth pattern piece, because that was the one that was made up of basically the mouth plate doubled. So we already have that piece. So I'll cut that out of black felt, and we'll just get that all sewn together. All right, so here is the foam head, and here is the fleece that we've now completed. Now, we are going to be eventually attaching these with glue around the rim of the mouth. But first we want to fit this on and make sure it looks good. And then we're also going to keep it on while we draft the neck piece. That's how I learned it from Adam. So that's what we're going to do. So let me see here. I think what we want to do is, yeah, start by going like this. All right, so here we go. I'm pretty much getting it mostly stitched over. It seems to be mostly covered and smoothed out. I'll pin the back seam together, but we still want to keep that unsewn for now and open. All right, so there we go. So that looks pretty good to me. So now what we're going to do is just trying to make sure that the mouth. So like I said, this is eventually going to be glued in, but for now we'll just kind of keep it like this. The head looks pretty good, and this is going to be covered with hair, so it looks good. There's only one seam along the back here. It looks, and that'll mostly be covered up with hair as well. So yeah, it's going to look really good. The chin seam looks okay. All right, so what I'm going to do now is put this back on the little stand, and I'm going to draft a neck pattern the way Adam shows how to do it. All right, so here's the back, and we still have the back seam opened a few inches here because that'll make it easier to attach the neck seam, apparently. But what I'm going to do is, I got a piece of scrap fabric. I'm going to pin this, the back part of this, I'm going to attach to the back, right around here. All right, so I'm gonna just slope some of this down already because I know that the pattern is gonna go downwards like this, sort of in this shape. All right, so that's about perfect. I actually should have made this a little bit longer, this pattern piece, but I think it's gonna be long enough. I think I'm gonna have to reduce a bit of this back as well, I think that actually is gonna need to, the back seam is gonna need to be reduced a little bit in order to get rid of the volume here. Yeah, so I think I'm actually gonna take some of this out. See, now that I'm putting it on, I guess that was a good idea. I wanted to get rid of some of the, I didn't want them to have jowls, so I had to I want to take out some of the volume and transfer some of that fabric out through the back seam. So I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to actually take off a shaving here, and I think that'll be good. And I'll have to transfer that to the pattern, the paper pattern piece as well. But yeah, I'll just sort of reduce that up to the seam to where I've already sewn. All right, but as for this pattern piece, let me take a look at this again now. All right, so I cleaned it up a little bit, but there is our tentative pattern piece. But what I'm going to do now is transfer that to paper. And I'm also going to take this bit off. Maybe I should do that now. We want this to be taken off. Okay, I'm just gonna shave this off since it's all together here. All right, so that little piece I'm gonna keep, and I'm gonna take that off of the pattern of the paper pattern piece to make sure that we make a note of the adjustments. But that's good, and now I got this piece. So yeah, so now I'm gonna make the paper pattern piece for this, and then we have some other drafting we need to do in order to do the body for him. So we'll do that next. we've got some pattern drafting to do, and there's 3 things in particular we need to do, so we'll do them out quickly. The first thing is I need to do the alteration to the paper pattern. So here is the piece of felt that I cut off to tighten up the back. So I'm not going to actually cut the paper, but I am going to make a note of what I took off. I'm going to roughly trace this. Yeah, we'll go like that. And I'll just say this was an alteration. Alteration line. I'll put that for future references in case we ever want to make this guy again. You never know, we might. All right, so that's the first and most obvious thing that I needed to do. Now, all right, so that was the first thing I wanted to do. Now the next thing I want to do is make that neck piece. And we're going to make it kind of long because it's actually going to attach to the neck and then go through the body to the to basically the bottom of the body, I think is how it all works. That's how I've seen Adam do it. So what I'm going to do is fold this in half, this piece. Okay, it looks like this. Now this lower piece, that was the neck. That was the bottom of the, the center front. So I'm going to go like this. And this actually paper piece looks kind of perfect. Just go like I'm going to just draw this. Get more room here. All right, so here we are. So I have the fold line here, and this is the center front because I don't want the seam to show. So the seam I want in the back. Okay, now I'm going to arch this, sort of tentatively draw this line. All right, now I'll cut this. All right, so here we are. So here is our neck piece. And it is approximately, it's about a foot long from the bottom of the neck seam of the head right here where it's going to attach. All right, so that's the pattern piece for the neck. So that was the second thing that we needed to do. Now the third thing that we need to draft, I got another piece of paper here, is we need to draft the foam piece for the body. And I'm going to do this using the exact formula that Adam gave. So we'll draw a line here. So now what he said that this line should be 11 inches. Let me just see here. All right, so 11 inches. And also mark 2 inches down. So that's 2, and then we put another line out. This one should be 4 inches and 4 inches. So there is a line up here that's 4 inches. So it's an 8-inch line. And 2 inches down, we're going to do it, but it's going to be an extra inch. It's going to be 5 inches. And then down here, it was also 4 inches on each side. Okay, and then we All right, so now we round and we smooth these as well. These will be rounded. Kind of like that. All right, so just to be clear, that was an 11-inch line, an 8-inch long piece on each side. That's 4 inches on each side of the line, and 8-inch long. And then 2 inches down from that, it's a 10-inch line. And then those were... So now I'm going to cut this out, and this is the foam body. But we're also going to be using this same pattern piece for the fabric as well, for the skin. Adam foam body, all right? So I'll cut that out and then cut that out of foam. And I'm just going to use the same 1/2-inch foam that I used for the head. I'm going to cut out 2 of those and then attach them sort of on all sides. You know, my arms are a lot shorter than Adam's. So I'm actually going to take an inch off of the bottom. He makes them 11 inches, but I think that a 10-inch one will be better for me because I have shorter arms than he does. Adam was a pretty big guy, so yeah, I'm going to take off an inch. Yeah, that'll be better. So I'm going to do that as well. I'm going to make a note of that on the pattern, the paper pattern. Oh, shoot. All right, so there we are. So there's that. Now all I have to do is glue these together, and then we'll cut a head, sort of a neck hole. And while I'm doing that, I'm also, along with the neck piece, which I still haven't cut out yet, I'm going to cut out a set of this body with a little bit of a seam allowance. All right, so there we go. That looks pretty good. That looks like a nice round body that will go well with this head. Right there, that's sort of how it's going to attach. But we need to do a little, we need to cut the armhole. So let's see. So there's going to be a little bit out of the back. And then deeper in the front. And you want to have a little bit more out of the front than the back. So that looks pretty good. That'll probably be big enough for most hands to get through. That could be a little bit bigger hole, I think, actually. But anyway, we'll see. It should be fine for now. Let me just see. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with how that's going to look. Yeah, that looks good. That looks good and feels good. All right. Well, I might trim the hole a little bit more. I don't know. I guess it's, I don't know. I don't know how snug I actually want it. It's going to be more snug because, you know what, I probably should cut a little bit more because there is going to be another layer of fabric going over that. So yeah, I should probably cut it just a little bit more. So I'm just going to clean this up and make this hole a little, just a fraction bigger so that the hand will be able to, because I also, the other next step we need to do is we need to sew up the body. So here's the body. I've just kept the 2 layers of fabric together. That's how Adam does it. And I'm going to sew around this line. It's with the same pattern piece as this, but there's going to be a seam allowance. And I'll cut around that whole thing and then turn it inside out and then put it onto here. All right. And then we'll work on cutting the hole open for the neck. All right. So that'll be the next step, is getting to the sewing. And here's the neck. All right, so here is the body that was sewn with the seam allowance, and now I'm going to just cut around the stitch line, not too close. All All right, now we'll see what that looks like. And we want to actually attach that to this. So let's see here. All right, so there's the body. Oops, still a little like wrinkles, a few little wrinkles to fill out, but the foam is fitting in there quite nicely. All right. So the next thing we need to do is cut the hole for the front. I'll keep moving this around a little bit. But basically we want to cut a hole here, and then we want to like glue it to the, wrap it around the neck hole in the foam and glue it down. All right, so I'll get to that next. The other thing I want to do now that I have, this is the neck that goes all the way down through the body. I'll see how that works. But I also left a few inches, and so now that was the reason we left a few inches open in the head as well, was so that it'd be easier to sew. Because now we have this nice line that isn't all closed up, I guess was the idea. That's how Adam does it. So I'm going to attach the head piece now to the neck, and so first pin that down and then sew that on. And of course we're doing that by putting the right sides together. All right, there we go. So what I'm going to do is now just let that dry, and then I'll also be closing. Having that back open seam in the back did help flip it. So I'll be hand sewing that closed, and then we'll see how this looks attached to the body. I also cut the hole for the body. I just cut the little hole, made it like a sort of like a star cut to the edges. And what I'm going to do is wrapping these pieces of fabric around and then gluing them down with fabric tack or something like that. And then we'll see how these look together once we put that neck through. So I'm going to keep pressing that tack glue down until it all kind of gets like rested, but that's looking pretty good already. And I'm also going to add glue to the bottom here and fold this part over, the bottom part, the waist. All right, so the tacky glue is still drying, but it's looking pretty good. That seems to be holding pretty well, and there's the bottom. So now I'm going to create some hands the way that Adam does it. So Adam measures about the width of the hand. So let's see, so it's going to be kind of like this. All right, I'm going to make this about 10 inches long. Looks like for me, I'm making this about just over 4.5 inches. And I think Adam adds an additional 6 inches below that as well. So this is going to be 16 inches in total, which is pretty long, but we'll just have to see here. I don't know. And here I'm going to space these out here. Let's see, I'm going to go to about thirds. All right, let's see. Let's go like this. Go like that. And then here I will put, let's see, go like that, that. All right, so there we go. So now I'm going to cut that out. All right, so there is that. So now I'm going to cut this out from the fleece, and we're going to need 2 pieces. Okay, I'm going to just use a marker for this. All right, so there we go. So now I'm going to cut those out. I'm going to sew along those lines with the sewing machine. And then cut them out and turn them. That should be pretty straightforward. Oh yeah, I just remembered there was one other thing that we need to draft as well. I need to draft the forearm, but that's really easy. I'm just going to do it the way Adam does it. Basically, is this a straight line? Yes, it is. Okay. So Adam does a piece that is 8 inches by 5 inches. 1, 2, 3, yeah. Like that. Okay, this is Adam forearm. Yeah. All right, so I will... All right, so these are going to be Adam's forearms. So what we're going to do now is we're also going to sew these. We're going to sew the 2 sides to make like a tube, and then we'll turn them and fill them with a little bit of batting to stuff them. So that's the plan. I'm going to make those forearms, and we're going to be sewing this and cutting this out and turning out these gloves. All right, so we're going to try the classic Adam Kreutinger nose pattern. This is the pattern that he makes available through his shop. So I've never actually made this nose before, so I'm going to try this and see how this one looks on, because it looks like around the same shape. If you look at Adam's nose, well, I'll show you. Once we get it made, it sort of has a similar shape to what I think would work well for Adam. What I'm not sure though about is the size. Hard to gauge whether or not this is going to be the right size or not. But I'm just going to make this mock-up and if it looks good, then I will, yeah, we'll take a look and see how it looks. And I can always shrink the pattern if I need to. And I'm just going to do the foam part right now. I have the fabric pattern as well, ready to go. And it's pretty much the same pattern, just a little bit larger. So yeah, once I get this all together, see how it looks. All right, and there we have a really nice puppet nose. I do think it's going to be a little big, but we'll just take a look now. I'll do it now. We'll take a look and see how it looks like, on the head. Here's the head. It's actually not too bad. As you can see, Adam does have sort of a longer sort of triangular nose here. So I think that it's suitable. I'm just not so sure about the size. I think it could be a little smaller. But that's going to be good. And then I think what I'm going to do next is I got these spoons. I got these plastic spoons. And what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to be using these for the eyes. There, you can kind of slowly see it starting to come together here. So there's the next step. And then we're also going to have a couple ears, but the ears are easy. I just need to make like a little semicircle, half circle, sort of like pattern pieces. And anyway, we'll do that next. All right, so I have the body coming along. I attached the forearms, I hand sewed those, pulled the head through, and I attached the neck bag to the body here at the bottom here as well. So that's all finished off. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to work on, here's all the pieces, the face pieces. The eyes are done. These were the spoons that I cut off the handles and then painted them white, added some fleece, a strip of black felt here, and then a Velcro sticker button there. And then here's the nose all completed now. It's hand sewed and the foam inserted. Here are the ears that are just filled with a little bit of stuffing, and those are going to be sewn on next, I think. The ears, and then here's a little tongue that I made just out of some pink felt. Put a little stuffing in there as well and sealed off the back. That'll be going in there. All right, so the next step is the ears and the nose are going to be hand sewn on, and then the eyes and the tongue are going to be glued down. Oh yeah, and the white fur here, this is for his hair. That's Adam's hair. So yeah, the eyes and the tongue are going to be glued. So I'm going to do the ears and the nose now. So on the nose will be here. I guess we can give just a quick little idea of what it's going to look like. Here, let's go like this. Just to get a bit of an idea of what this is going to look like. The nose. Put his tongue in here. All right, I can't really hold everything on, but that kind of gives you the idea. All right, but like I said, one thing at a time. So what I'm going to do is now hand sew on the ears to the side here, just above the corners of the mouth. That's where I want to have them. And the nose will be just sort of right around there. I don't want it to hang, the nose to hang over the mouth. Want to have like maybe a 1 centimeter gap between the top of the lip and the bottom of the nose, so right around there, and I'll just hand sew that down, right? So that's the next step. And then I'm going to glue the eyes and the tongue down, and then once that's all done, then we'll work on the pattern. We have to draft the pattern piece for the hair, so we'll work up to that step next. All right, so here he is looking with the features on. I got the forearms on, the ears, the eyes, the nose. Yeah, so now we just got to do the hair, and I have this piece of long-haired white faux fur, which should be good, but we need to draft the piece for the hair piece. And there's also going to be some eyebrows. I've decided, Adam had very pronounced dark eyebrows, so I'm going to cut some pieces either of felt or some black felt or some faux fur and add those as well. But in the meantime, I'm going to draft the pattern for the headpiece. So I look back at the video that Adam did when he was doing this, and he basically got a piece of fabric and sort of draped some fabric on the head and pinned it and drew the pattern piece that way. But I'm going to use the plastic wrap and tape method because I just think that works really, really well. So I'm just going to cover his head in plastic. Okay, and we're gonna start wrapping in tape, and I'm only gonna need half, because the pattern piece is gonna be just half the head. It's gonna be sewn, 2 pieces sewn together. I'll make sure that. Yeah, so I'm just going to cover at least his one half of his head, cover all the plastic with the tape. Okay, so now I'm going to draw with a marker on the tape where it's going to be. So he's going to have eyebrows like around here. So I'll just make sure that the hairline is above that. So he doesn't have much of a widow's peak. Adam's hairline was pretty straight. So we'll do a line like around there, maybe even a little lower. Yeah, I think around there, and then we want to have a center. I'm going to draw the center seam. And on the back, it's really easy because we can just follow the actual seam line on the back of the head so that we know exactly where the center line is. That's really good. All right, let's see. So I want this to kind of go like... And then here's the back. So I see the line I have going kind of down around the head, a little bit of sideburn, just a little bit, and then around the ear. I might make this go a little higher. Let's see. And now the back. Well, I don't really have a picture of the back of Adam's head, so I'll just kind of like, let's see, go... I'll just kind of like go like this, I think. Yeah, that should probably be good. And I guess this is going to have a dart in it somewhere. Trying to remember how Adam did this. He might have put this a dart at the side here, or should I do it at the top? No, I think I'm gonna do it from here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do a dart because I don't want a dart on the top because I want the hair to flow. So I think I'm gonna put a dart here that goes up. To release all of that, I think that's what we're gonna do. So there's the dart. I hope it's showing up on camera. Let me take another look here. You know, I'm just thinking. I don't even. Now I'm looking at this. I'm not sure I'm even gonna have enough fabric here, but we'll see. Might have to get another piece. Okay, I think I'm going to go with that. So I'm going to take this off. I'm going to cut this pattern piece out and lay it flat and trace it onto paper. And then hopefully, if I don't have enough out of this one piece, I'll get another piece of this long-haired white fur, faux fur. And yeah, we'll cut the two pieces out and then we'll start hand sewing it together. All right, so I got the pattern piece here that was from the plastic and the tape, and I don't need it anymore because I transferred it to paper. So here it is. Here's the pattern piece, and I got another piece of the fur. So I want to make sure that the nap is going that way, and the front of the, this is the front of the head of the pattern piece, and this is the back. So we want the hair to go this way because Adam didn't really have bangs, so I just want the hair to kind of be going up over his head. So make sure. So I'm going to be cutting the pattern piece out this way, and then I'm going to turn it over and cut it out that way. And I'm going to cut this from the back of the fabric very carefully with a blade because we don't want to cut with scissors through any of the pile. But yeah, and then what we're going to do, and then what I'm going to do is And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand sew the dart closed with a whip stitch on both pieces, and then hand sew with a whip stitch the center front seam that goes right from the front all the way up over the head to the back. And then we should have a little toupee that we can throw on. It should look really good. And then I also got a piece of the black, long-haired black fur, and I'm planning on using that for his very dark eyebrows. Adam had jet black eyebrows, so I'll be using that. Cut some little eyebrow pieces from that. So that's it. So I'll get those cut out, and then I'll show you guys how it all looks on the puppet. All right, got the pieces cut out. Next step is to do the darts, and I have little balance marks as well so that I know where to match them up to get that beautiful curve in the head and the side of the head. So I'm going to do that now, and you guys. And it should all be complete the next time you see this. All right, so here we go. So here is the hair. Now the nice thing about long-haired fur is, like I said, it hides seams really well. I can see a faint line from where I was hand sewing there, but the nice thing about long-haired fur is all you have to do is sort of just brush it, and usually you can just completely hide those. See, it just disappears. See, it's completely gone now. The side and the dart seams you don't notice on the sides at all. All right, let's see how this looks on him. Let's see here. All right, I want to leave a little bit of room for the eyebrows because I did want to have eyebrows. So let's see here. Making sure that the ear is fitting snugly in the socket there, and it is. Okay. I wonder if I should turn. I think I probably will. Yeah. I'm going to be hiding the edge of the fur when I sew it. I think what I'm going to do is kind of turn it under a little bit on the edge as I sew it down, but we'll see how that goes. All right, well, that looks okay. Here's sort of the back. All right, but now what I want to do is create the eyebrow. Yeah, so Adam always had with very white hair and very black eyebrows, and they all had the shape kind of like long and then a little curve at the end. Looks like 2/3 of the brow is up and then a little bit down. Up and then fall. So that's the kind of shape I'm going to create. It's just a matter of what size. So kind of like that. That's kind of like Adam's eyebrow. Is that too big though? This puppet, let's see. Yeah, I might have to go back a little bit. Okay, I think this is gonna do. I think this would be a fine size for a brow. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to cut out this pattern piece, and I'm also gonna make a tracer from this so that I can cut it out of this black fur. So there it is. I'm going to use that as the eyebrow fur. All right, so here is the little eyebrows that I made, and I just trimmed them. It's 3-inch long pile fur, so it's way too long. Didn't want his eyebrows to be that bushy, but they're very pronounced and black. So there we are. And then, so now I'm not sure yet if I'm going to glue these on. Yeah, I'm probably just going to glue them on. We'll keep things simple. And but the hair I'm going to hand sew all around the edge. And like I said, I'm going to try turning the edge a little bit so that it hides that rough edge of the fur, the faux fur. So yeah, I'll just get that stuff. And then the only thing left to do is attach his forearms to the sleeve that the puppeteer is going to use. But we'll get into that step next after I hand sew this on, and we'll finish the body. All the hard work is done now, so we're almost there. All right, so the only thing left to do with the head really is to style the hair, and I'm going to do that last. But what we need to do now is just finish the body. So here is a shirt that I think of when I think of Adam. Yeah, the puppetnerd was his thing, so I just made this little logo, did it sort of my own way. I'm going to place this over like this, over the body. Okay, so I got 2 of these shirts. This was the smallest size, and then I got an extra large size and just used the arms. And then I cut out the hands, and then I inserted them, and the yellow fleece part ends around here, and that's where I hand sewed it to the sleeve from the inside. So the puppeteer can just move their arm in this very easily now. And there's 2 of these, one for each arm, and these are going to get attached right at the bottom of the arm. Here is where it's going to get attached to the arm here. But first I have to get rid of the excess fabric on the sleeve. So I got some wax here. I think I'm going to, basically, if the head is here, it's going to sit on the shoulders. I'm basically going to cut, I think, right under the armpit, kind of like this. I think I'm going to go a little something like this on both sides. Yeah, I'll cut this. And try and cut off the same amount on the other side as well. All right, so let me think here. So now I'll put this puppet in this shirt. Let's see if I can do that. Hopefully I can get this big head through this hole. Oof, it's not so easy. The fleece does not like to move on this fabric. It's going. Okay, here we go. Here's the head. Just got to get that nose through. That's going to be the... there we go. All right. All right, so now that that's on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin this to the bottom of here. Because this is going to be hand sewn, so I'll just pin this here in a few spots. Let's see the bottom. All right, so we got the bottom sewn. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to open up the arm and take the forearm, and I'm going to sew the forearm right to the side of the sleeve where the hand is in. Where the sort of the glove ends, the fleece glove. So I'll just take it. Yeah, I'll go like that. So I'll just. And now the trick is to hand sew. Yeah, I have to attach this sleeve to this sleeve, and I'll use a black stitch for that. But basically I'll just sew around here, just lightly kind of tack it down. Or maybe I'll use a royal blue stitch so it's nice and invisible. But yeah, that's how that'll work. So basically the puppeteer's sleeve will come through here. And that'll operate Adam's arm. And I'll do that on both sides. So I'll finish that up, and then I think the only thing left to do is to style his hair a little bit, and then I think we're done. Okay, so we're pretty much done here. But there's one thing I want to see if I can tackle, and that's the hair. So I have a buzzer here, and I never used this before, but I'm going to see if I can use this to make Adam's hair look a little bit shorter on the back and the sides. So I hope this works. I don't know. I've never really used one of these before. Okay. It seems to be working. Like I said, I just want it to be short on the back and the sides. So I'm not going to go too crazy on this. Really important we get it on the sides. Okay, that looks good. I'm happy with that. Okay. So just do a bit more here. A little buzzing, even it out. Now let's do the other side here. And I can do a little, like, clean it up by hand a little bit, too. Okay. I think that's pretty good. Like I said, I'll just clean it up a little bit now with some scissors just to clean it up and make sure it looks good. But I'm pretty happy with that. I think that looks pretty good. So we're basically done now. So there it is. So there you go, guys. There's Adam, a new character for the Vancouver Pupps, a new friend of Oko's to hang out and be part of the team, part of the background characters. I did want to say one thing before I finish this off. Is my heart goes out to the family, to Adam's wife, Maria, and their 2 kids. I hope that they're doing all right, and I hope that they get some comfort in knowing that Adam's legacy is going to live on for a long, long time. And as far away as Vancouver, he continues to influence and inspire people and other puppeteers and younger generations of creative people and puppeteers on YouTube. But yeah, thank you very much. Thank you all for watching. I'm Brandon from the Vancouver Pupps. Have a nice day. And we'll see you sometime in the future, Adam.